like I reach out, you know, as much as I can. Like you notice I show up for my show early, so that way we can discuss whatever. Right, no whammies, right? And like, you know, so these are the things that it's weird. These are the things that you know, I look for in others, and that's just not like the case. Like,
they don't even try anymore.
But some people, like, some of this stuff I learned like just being alive.
But
like,
it's common courtesy stuff.
Yeah.
But and that whole social media thing, I swear I
don't think people know how to be like social correctly anymore.
Well, that's again, I'm not a Jamal Bryant fan, but I'm just saying he made perfect sense. He said even in church, like when they say look to your neighbor, like that's a hard thing for people, because people will watch you call them and like watch you not answer the phone and then text you what's up. Like people don't have like personal skills anymore, like how we communicate and how we talk, because I'm so used to being here. Right. And then when I don't want to talk to you, I just do like this. And that's not...
Because it's true. Like that doesn't... Like we don't have any like social skills anymore. And a lot of that, I think you're right, comes from the age of technology. We'll be right back with Salacious Life talking about professionalism as an artist.
The lack thereof.
Or the lack thereof.
The lack thereof.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run. The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, one with a home run, drove
hit the home run.
Right. They were going into that National series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game. That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm going to talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Their run differential is a -65, which is just horrible. So when you have well, let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
how much like you're winning or losing your games by, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. It's like the margin of victory, kind of.
Right.
So when you're in a negative number, that means that then your average game you're losing by a whole lot. Right. I mean, a number like -65, this early in the season is pretty rough. That's horrible. The pitching numbers pretty much support this stat right here. I mean, the team ERA is 4.70, which is 26th in the league. They have 126 walks allowed. They acquired Jared Weaver in the offseason, and he really has not panned out. He's off to one of the worst starts in any of the pitchers in 2017. He's 0-4 with a 6.05 ERA. In May alone, he already has 12 earned runs in May. And, another one of their pitchers, Clayton Richard, he's 2-4 with a 4.34 ERA. And, in May, he has 6 earned runs and 12 innings pitched. So they're not pitching well. And on top of that, they are also not batting well.
Right. But it kind of sucks because...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right, and we're back. So we were talking about the lack of professionalism and how people don't know how to communicate effectively, as artists. And we were talking about, like, on the break, you and I had a little sidebar, and we were talking about how, especially black artists, are taught to push through. The show must go on. You must perform. We talked about, you know, a show that I did where I was really ill and I dragged my ass, you know, because I felt like I hadn't given ample notice, you know, so that something could be done, you know, to mitigate, you know, the disruption of me not showing. So I showed and pushed through. Like, and it's funny because you're right. Like, I can't count how many shows I probably shouldn't have done and how many shows I ended up not doing because I pushed myself so hard to do shows prior to my body finally just was like, you know, bitch, fuck you.
You gotta stop.
You gotta stop. You know, like, it really is, it's amazing how people don't take their craft. Maybe they do. Maybe we just take that level of what is it to be serious about your craft? Like, what levels you up so that we as outsiders, if I was one, would know that people are serious about their craft? Because, like, has the dynamic just changed? Has the bar just changed? Do you know, like, the bar used to be, this is how you behaved, you know, and now that bar seems like it doesn't exist anymore.
Well, what happens is, like, our needs change. So our sense of urgency, and my grandmother used to tell me all the time, your lack of preparation should not and will not deem an emergency on my behalf. But what is happening is, so I gotta get this thing done. Whatever this thing is, for whatever reason, I gotta get it done because I didn't really prepare for it, and it's an urgency now. I'm willing to accept something that's beneath the standard that I was here.
Right.
So I'm willing to accept below that standard, and because I'm willing to do that, then all these people who are on that level of, like, they feel important now. And not that they're not important on their own, but this is not this.
Right.
And I'm stooping down to accept something beneath me, all for the sake of moving what I have forward. That may not be what I'm supposed to be doing in the first place.
Right.
To get to where I want to go. And it really says a lot about our educational system. Yeah. I've had professors who used me for what they needed and then told me I wasn't good enough when they did not need me anymore. And in your 20s, that could be life altering.
Absolutely.
And you start making unhealthy decisions for yourself based on somebody else's insecurities or fears or lack of judgment.
Right.
And our professionalism begins to, like, be all over the place because now we're learning from people who don't have good professionalism. You know, masking it as you paying your dues. And then we start getting hard-hearted, and then we start creating our own paths to success. And then there's no standards anymore. Where's the standard at now?
Right.
Like, to be, so you do more live talk shows. So to do that, you have to have a certain amount of preparation. Your guests have to be on point and have a certain level of preparation.
And, like, so for instance, like, speaking of guests, right?
Where are you?
Well, yeah, I haven't. So I'm just assuming that she's had some sort of emergency because I try to be the benevolent person and always think nobody would just do that. But, like, there are people who we have mutual beneficial relationships. You know what I mean? Whereas I have a platform and they have a product. And we would be beneficial to each other. In a perfect world. In a perfect world. But I can't tell you how many guests have called me at 8:45, 8:55. I'm not going to make it, not called at all, not sent me a message. You know, like, how is that? You know what I mean? Like, because it takes days, weeks to prepare for a show. Writing, researching, thinking. It takes a long time, you know. And when you prep a show based on a guest that you're having, when that guest decides they can't make it or whatever, so then you redirect. right? You're trying to salvage what you have. And then again, you don't make it to what your normal standard is. You're coming in right about here, so you're not feeling it all the way, you know. And all it could have took was a phone call maybe at least 3 hours before the show, so that way, you know, alterations to the show could have been made, or another guest could have been invited, or, you know.
But again, these are perfect world scenarios.
But I mean, I don't think I've ever invited anyone on my show that, or on any show, my live show, my talk show, like anything, that didn't have a talent worth displaying. You know, and they're all professionals. These aren't typically necessarily climbing, you know, starving artists, but people who have
they're doing it. They're somewhat arrived. You know, they may not be on a, you know, crazy high level, you know, but they've somewhat arrived, you know. And for people to, you know, text me or call me the day after, oh, I'm sorry I didn't make it, like, to me it's kind of like, well so I've been at Be Exposed. This is my 5th year in September, made my 5th year. And I've seen all the different variations of that. I've had people who were calling guests from Iran who had to wait up to 2 o'clock in the morning. I think like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning for my 7 to 9 show. And they were waiting and were on time. Right. And somebody who lives across the street from me missed the whole interview. Right. And didn't have a reason. I've had people call me and tell me, you should have reminded me. Well, my reminder to you
I always do though. But like, so what is your excuse then?
but it's everybody's so busy nowadays. Everybody's a boss. Everybody doing it and dipping in and doing, you know, they doing their thing and they doing nothing. There's a bunch of nothing happening, because one thing that you should always know is don't ever piss off media.
Right. Because we can dig into your
ass. And I'm gonna talk about you.
I'm gonna talk shit, you know, like
I'm gonna create a whole topic to replace you about you. And it's not malicious, but you just forced my hand. Well, I planned on talking to you.
But since I can't talk to you, I have to talk about the lack of you and how that has, you know, how disrespectful it can feel and be. How
I stopped trying to teach lessons. I've really stopped trying to teach lessons, and I've learned how to just move forward. One of my rules on my show is, if you cancel on me in a rude way, like if you're not in a car accident, if your mom's not in the hospital, if your baby hasn't fallen down the steps, you will not be asked to come back on my show. I have like 11 other shows I can ask. You can have another interview. I'll still like do the same amount of support for you I've always done, but you're not allowed on my platform. Right. You know, I've had to say no to some nice names that would be considered nice names to come on my show, because I don't do repeats. Right. I don't not repeats that call out on me. Right. Because if this was another platform, say a 92Q, you would be here before I got here. Right. So it's the level of, you know, but people forget and their professionalism. And it's a thing, and it's artists, it's entrepreneurs, politicians now we see are just as bad. Oh my gosh. You know,
nobody is accountable for their own actions. Like, it's funny because I'll make a complaint here and there. Like, I'm human. I'll be mad about something. I'll complain about it. But at the end of the day, if I'm you know, if I'm called out on some shit though, you know, I always take a minute. You say, you know, I'll take a breath and be like, hold up, let me think about what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? And I'll own it.
But that's your professionalism, though. I've learned not to expect, and that sounds crazy, I have no expectations for people anymore. I have standards of how I want to be treated. And the difference between the two, because most people see them as the same thing, the difference is, I expect for you to do these things because that's what I would do.
Right.
We can't do that.
We can't do that.
Because your sense of professionalism is obviously different
than my sense. Absolutely.
Because mine entails me thinking about you before I make a decision for myself, because we were supposed to do this together.
Absolutely.
But other people is like, you know, they climbing that crab in a barrel mentality. Like,
that's that's a whole different beast. Let's take this break. We'll be right back with this week's Hump Day Discourse on Salacious Life.
Facebook was stupid.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
There's a rumor going around that Tyler Perry and Oprah are beefing. Well, let me tell you about this. Tyler, okay, told Oprah, bitch, if you don't have my money, we're going to have a problem. Ooh. Oprah said, what is the problem?
Ooh. You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
And now that I'm telling mom, mother no, and sister no, and best friend no, it's like, who are you?
Right.
I'm somebody who fed up with saying yes. And you have to sometimes bark louder, you know, just to, you know, balance things out. But people don't respect kindness no more. They don't.
No. And like, I'm a happy person. I did a whole show about happying yourself and taking control of your own happiness. My mantra is live unapologetically, right? So being nice and being happy does not mean I'm weak, but people do treat me that way, and I think somewhere in there, people got me fucked up. Like, I think somewhere in there, people thought, or people think, oh, Dr. Wren is this, you know, sweet, you know, woman, she doesn't say anything, you know, she's okay, she'll be all right, you know, I'll make it up to her. And now, like, my crew is real thin. And nobody can figure out why. I haven't said anything.
Because once you have calmed down, it's very easy to go back to what was normal. So sometimes you have to say things. Often, it's best if you don't. And you just walk away. I did that to a friend last year, and after something had happened and it was a pattern of things, and I just saw this pattern again, I just didn't talk to the person. And then you realize they start reaching out to you. You good? What's happening? Did I do something wrong? What happened?
Like, what do you think?
No communication.
Like, I just, you know, because I feel like if you can't communicate with me when we're on a professional level, you know, like, and that's really on some basic, like, cordial shit, how can I let you in my space? Right. Like, how can I allow you to be in my, like, you know, active life? You know, like, I've had to cut out a lot of people. Now, you know, I celebrate New Year's on my birthday. That's my personal New Year. And I thought about just even over the 2017-2018 year that I just completed, how the numbers have shrunk significantly. I mean, like by 80%, and not because I don't like people, because I love people. You know, I'm a very likable person, and I like people. You know, we have our little open houses. I have a great time. You know, but I'm very cautious of who I let in my active life because, you know, like you said, you have a product. We have a platform that we have to protect. You know,
but don't be cautious. Just assess who's in front of you, like face value. No, yes, no, like, and don't have rhyme or reason, because people who are being malicious, they're doing that every day. This person has value, this person doesn't have value, and they keep it moving. But when you're being an empath, it's very hard for you to not assume other people's feelings and emotions.
Right.
I cut that off about 2 years ago because being an empath has always got me into trouble. Because you're thinking too much about something over here and not enough about your foundation and who you are. So that person is going to continue to mess up and miss out on the opportunities that you're presenting them with.
I guess it's just hard for me because like I hear exactly what you're saying, and it makes absolute sense. Like, and I guess so this is where I find myself. I'm actually very much against, if there was an anti-crab in a bucket, I would be that person. I am of the mindset that we can all eat. You know, I'm all about.
But they don't have that mindset because I want can I have what's in your pocket?
No.
And then they go ask that other person like a bum on the street.
You keep what's in your pocket. I keep what's in my pocket. We go do some work and we both get paid.
Now you're being selfish.
Because I want what's mine and to help you get some of your own.
And that's, people
like
don't
I'm
think about
leading you
that.
to water, like, and I'm being selfish.
Everything that I do now as an artist, as a business owner, and just a man, point blank period, I have to fit in that somehow, some way. Yeah. That whole helpful thing. If I'm going out tomorrow and I'm going to carve some turkeys and give out to the homeless, I'm not looking for a photo op, but that has to feed my life in some way, shape, fashion, or form. Whether it's just me giving and it makes me feel good, I have to fit into that. I'm not just going to help you move because we're friends. If it doesn't fit into something that's good for me, whether it's physically, financially, economically, emotionally,
so how many times do you invest? Like, so for instance, right, let's say you got a new friend, right? Y'all been friends about a year, right? You've never needed anything from this friend, so you don't know if this friend would come through for you or not. So this friend needs something from you, something small, like help me, you know, bring my groceries upstairs. I live on the 4th floor though, so it's a walk up kind of thing. It's a heavy one, but you're talking one flight.
I'm on the 3rd floor. That's a lot.
You know what I mean? But we're talking like, you know, one trip. Yeah. If everybody grabs bags and goes. So this is like, so we're gonna keep it on that level. So, because I'm making up a story here. You know, I like making up stories. So you got this friend. We'll call him Gino. Gino needs you to move or help him carry his groceries from his trunk to his apartment, right? Y'all been friends about a year. Y'all been hanging out. Y'all been kicking it. Conversations are good. You know, y'all done maybe made a few mutual friends now, you know. And I mean, this is just like a homie, you know, because I need the people to understand that we are not talking about love affairs right now. These are just plain relationships.
Just a homie.
This is a homie, right? So this is a homie. So you decide to help this homie take these groceries upstairs. Fast forward 6 months, right? You need the homie. You need Gino to, you know, let's just say Gino is a graphic designer and you ask Gino to review a design that you made because maybe you're good at it, but you're not the best at it, and you know Gino's good at it. Like, hey, can you take this and just tweak it a little bit to make it nice, right? Something that might take Gino 15, 20 minutes, right? And Gino pushes you off, right? Like, all right, now before Gino pushed you off, right? So we'll back step 3 days, right? So for 6 months, you're thinking, all right, I've just invested in this relationship with Gino, right? I carried these groceries upstairs. You expect that two people will
listen to the word expect. Go ahead.
Yeah, but
so we just go put that to the side.
We'll hold that over here. So you expect, we'll hold expect up here, right? You expect that if you ever needed Gino for something small, because this wasn't a big grand gesture, but you thought if you needed something small, I'm still holding expect up here, you needed something small, that Gino would come through for you, right? I don't think I've ever met a Gino, but that's
I've eaten from a Gino.
But so, and Gino doesn't come through for you, right? Now you've invested, so now you've walked away, because that's what we do, right? We invest, it doesn't work out, we walk, we cut our losses, right? We cut our losses. How many times do you invest, or do we get so hard and callous that we stop investing in new relationships?
Well, I don't stop
expectation. I'm gonna bring
expectation
down here,
because I don't stop investing. I used to, because I had the same friends and I wouldn't let them go, and I didn't want new friends because these friends that I was holding on to were bullshit. Right. So I didn't want to get to know anybody else, and I didn't want to lose friendship or empty the space, or i.e. be lonely. But I don't stop. I no longer stop investing in relationships, but I do learn my lesson quicker.
Right.
So it only takes one time for me to you to show me who you really are, and I'm going to believe it that time.
Like, I think what I've done, I used to make grand gestures. Like, if I had it, you had it. And that was how I carried it with my friends for a long time. And
everybody don't deserve that, though.
But everybody doesn't. I have a few who I had it, they had it. That's been our relationship, and they've come through every single, like, either way. Either one of us needs it. Like, they've come through. They've been solid. My day ones, like, and we go all the way back. And it's funny because those are the people I don't talk to on a regular basis. Like, you know, we connect when we do. We're both busy. You know, we're all busy people. Right. We understand that about each other. We show up to each other's shows or events or what have you. You know, a birthday or something like that. We always try to make an effort to be there, or at least call or something like that. But these are not people who I socialize with, like, on a daily or weekly basis or anything like that. I don't think I have any friends that I would say I socialize with on an everyday basis. Like, I'm not even an everyday socializer.
People get older, they got families and children, and they move away. You're not expected to be like, you move away from your parents' home.
But see, you are.
Yeah, you are expected.
You are expected.
And see that word,
but then they won't.
But to foster a relationship, one of my strongest relationships now is with my friend that lives in New Orleans. We talk as if she lives down the street.
Right.
I have people who literally live 5 minutes away from me, and I only see them when that person come back into town and we all get together.
Right.
So I don't lie to myself and say, well, friendship is friendship. You know, I remember.
I wonder who decided what those boundaries were. Like,
you do. Like, I don't have control over their boundaries.
But I feel like a lot of people have these, like, pre-designed ideas or unrealistic expectations of what a friendship truly is, or maybe it's just a friendship with me, like what it takes to be my friend.
We have a lack of communication, because there's a lack of communication out there, because people come into relationships expecting, and you expecting, but none of us have actually clearly understood what our friendship is. Is our friendship based off of whenever you need money, I'm the one you call? Is our friendship...
I've been that friend before.
Right. Is our friendship based off of whenever I got something on my chest, you're the person I call and release?
To download, right.
But what if I'm not the person who like doing that? Or what if this time I have something, because you can't just cut everybody off at face value, right? Because something happens. Because what if, like, I'm in, you know, in debt and I don't have it to give to you this time or get to your show. I was that person at some point when in my 20s. I learned how to be helpful because I didn't have to buy tickets.
Because I didn't have money, right, to buy tickets or whatever.
Right.
Or even, like, you know what's funny? Because that goes a long way. Being helpful, the gesture, like whether you spend money or not, the idea of it, to me, has such a higher value. Like, You know, there's been times where I haven't had it like that, you know, but, you know, friends look out or what have you. You know, I got their support. So me trying to, you know, I volunteer at one of their...
Sharing it on Facebook.
Sharing it out, like, whatever I can do, you know. Like,
but people don't see those things because somebody else may see that as, this bitch always, she's so cheap. Like, she ain't never bought no ticket, not realizing I've always been your door person. I'm the only one sharing it. I'm putting your flyer on as my profile picture. You know, I'm talking about you on my radio show free.
For free.
You know, they don't count those things. All they looked for was a ticket sale.
Right.
Because
knowing that, you know, it costs money for Dr. Wren to show up to things, and I'm volunteering my time.
But they don't see it that way, and those are the communication things. And I think the first thing is, and one of the things that I was lacking, I never showed up as myself. And it wasn't that I was being fake, but I saw messiness, I saw confusion, I saw misunderstanding and miscommunication, but I never said anything. I let you be who you are. So when it got to a point where I'm 35 and I'm not taking that shit no more, it was too late. So those friendships had to dissolve. Now, if you get yourself back together and you got some common sense, we could be friends again.
I have moved people out of my active life. You know what I'm saying? Like, just moved them out. I didn't disown them. If they called me, I might even answer. But they are not members of my active life anymore.
But I still pray for them. Are they sleeping that night? They sleeping that night.
So am I.
Are they still calling you? No. So
they
weren't a part of your active life to begin with. They were just this crowd. We feel like we gotta have a crowd. This makes us important.
Right.
This right here.
And it's funny because like that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? We, you know how we justify our lives with the people around us. Like we're looking for that. What's the word I'm looking for? Help me. Validation. We are looking for the validation of others for what? When the only person who we actually have to answer to is ourselves.
But even in that validation, you have to still see that people purposely withhold validation. They purposely do it because they know you need it. But it becomes like, if I give her a little bit, then I get a lot of what I want.
Right. She'll keep coming for it because I keep giving her a taste. It's the same way I train my dog.
And that's how we get trained. We get trained like that, and we don't realize how much damage we're doing to ourselves. You know, it's hard for me to cut communication off.
Right.
It's very hard for me to do that because I'm a giving person. What you need? Right. Okay, let me make this happen.
Let me see how this can work. Let me make this happen.
And I used to hear people say, they don't ever tell me no. And we'll be in the room together. And I'll be like, that was just cold for everybody else in this room that I'm your bitch right now.
We got a comment here. It says, I have learned to come in expecting an experience, being who I am, enjoying the experience, gathering the information, using the information to choose whether to have another, and applying that information to the next experience. Rinse and repeat. And honestly speaking, like, we are living the journey, not the destination. So keep investing, right?
Right. But it's the thing of, I can't expect for another human being to do anything or to be anything or to have anything. You know, it's the same thing as dating. I'm expecting for you to have everything I need, I want in life.
We're getting ready to take a break. We'll be right back. Thank you, Lady Glory, for your comment. We'll be right back with Salacious Live. We'll continue this conversation.
It's almost 11 o'clock.
Is it?
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
we're rewarding you for something you already do, listening to us. It's Radio Loyalty, and it's an easy way for you to get free stuff. All you do is sign up. Go ahead and click the banner now. You'll earn points as you listen. Points you can trade in for great products and services in the Radio Loyalty store. You can earn even more points when you share your favorite station with friends on Facebook and Twitter. Radio Loyalty. It's free to sign up, so click the banner to join now.
Here's what you missed on Salacious Life Radio.
You know, when it comes to your children, especially if you're dating someone that you actually like, you do want it to work. So you're gonna hope and encourage the relationship between your child and that person because you like that person, you know, so you're gonna hope for the best. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't work and you can't make it work. You can't force it. It's like a branch. You keep bending it, eventually it'll snap, and even if you put it back together, it'll never be what it once was. But you definitely pray on it. You hope for the best, you know, because like nobody wants to spend the rest of their life alone just because that a particular relationship didn't work out, but you had this beautiful creature as a result of it, you know. But you don't want to necessarily spend and you're not all of a sudden a bad person. You're not all of a sudden not going to fulfill this other person's needs.
You, madam, are a harlot and a scoundrel.
Because I had one kid while I was still married. Like,
but what if you?
I take that back.
What if the situation turns around the other way? So you ready for your child to meet? They meet the person, and this person is a giver. So this person's buying your child lots of gifts and wanting to.
I would usually.
Do you
like,
let?
You don't like if it's a birthday or some sort of holiday or something like that. Okay, and they want to get them a few things or get them something.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We're back. We were, if you're just tuning in, I mean, this is the last segment, but it's never too late. Better late than never. We were talking about professionalism and, you know, professional relationships and friendships and investing in the people in your life. Watching who will return that favor, who has that teamwork, let's all eat type of mentality versus the people who were just eaters, you know, takers, you know. And it's so crazy because life can be so full of abundance and people are starving.
And it is, and for me, it's not even always malicious.
No, I don't even think they know they do it
so much that they're willing, and I say this a lot, there are people who are willing to burn down everything around them to succeed, not realizing they're standing right in the center.
Right.
And it's that mentality that I gotta beat you, I gotta beat her, I gotta beat myself. Like you don't even realize the damage that you're doing. I don't hold anybody's behavior, I don't take it personal anymore because it's not about me. I'm just the person in the line of fire. You know, that's the extent of me being hurt. Right. But you really going through some things. So I don't even get mad when other people get mad and we're in an argument. I choose not to even yell anymore because it's pointless. You're mad at something else.
But you know what's so crazy? To get me to raise my voice. Like, if I ever raise my voice, like if I get to the point where I am raising my voice, you really know that I must really care about either what we're doing or you.
But see, hurt people don't see that. They don't see that. They just see you attacking them.
Right.
I recently got into that, and I remember this person, I can say it, my co-host, my ex-co-host, it was this constant every time we was together. It was this tipping away at me, tipping away, because people are used to testing people. So I want to see how much they can take before they explode. See, I knew you wasn't a Christian. And now, and
it's like you've been baiting me for this long, and then I finally boil over, and now it's my fault.
I don't even yell to that extent. And I just remember being in the middle of this yelling storm and watching his face just look at me like, oh shit, I didn't know it was going to be like this. But you wanted this. This is what you wanted. Right. But it's not what you wanted. But it's what you expected. I'd stay away from that word as much as I can because it gives you exactly what you asked for.
Expectations will mess you up. But
or somebody else.
Or somebody else. But with that being said, we have to set standards, though.
Standards of how I want to be treated.
Right.
And that's not expecting for you to treat me that way.
It's just I'm not gonna accept anything less.
Yep. And the moment you do something beneath that or over the top,
then you gotta go.
And it got to be that clear and cut. Like I used to hate losing stuff. I'm a hoarder. Right. And I started translating that into people. I hated losing people. I hated like that. Like why can't we work together? Because we can't work together.
Right.
It's just that simple. And then you start realizing this person, they can go. I'ma still live. Right. You know, after college, it's that a lot of the students that I work for, I say, so once we leave college, we are stuck in that syllabus mindset. Mm-hmm. So we don't know what to do if it ain't written out
it's not
over
outlined,
a 6 to 12 week period. And you're like, well, what do I do? Do what the hell you just spent 4 or 5 years training to do.
Right.
If you got to go back to those syllabuses or syllabi or whatever,
right,
and go to it and start from scratch every time, do that.
Right.
But you have to create your own syllabus now. Like you have that power. You had the power then.
Right.
Like, but you chose to like be a slave to him or her giving you the work every week when you had the syllabus right in front of you.
You could have moved it. Like that was like my saving grace in undergrad and grad was the syllabus because I could plan out my entire semester like on the first day of class.
Most people was, I gotta do this project. She gonna tell me about this project at the you had this in your
You had it in your hand the first day, the whole time. Like, and I'm one of the people who would, I always call it pre-bake. I would do a lot of the heavy lifting and then sit it aside until it got a week or so before it was due, and then I pick it back up and clean it up.
See, I was on the opposite side, so now I can give that advice and have a strong suit because I was stuck in what the professor was giving me, the opportunities, because what happened was I started creating opportunities for other people who were waiting for something to be put in their lap. And I'm like, come on, you gotta help. And then I realized what I was doing at the same time. I was waiting for this teacher to tell me what to do. And we get into that, and then it gets to the other side. And we just gotta get past it all. We gotta figure out how to just live together, communicating and just being, but that starts with being at one with yourself.
Right.
You can't do all that outside if you ain't good on the inside.
If you're not good on the inside. We had another comment from Lady Gloria. Before we had a comment and it says it's cultural, you know. She says she says when we have a fair relationship with ourselves, our investments are smarter because we are okay. Singularly. False hopes and expectations. False hopes and expectations come from a negative personal balance with ourselves. Right. And she was like, that's her opinion. But I'm inclined to agree. Like when I'm counseling people in their sexual relationships, you know, one of the first things I say to them is, when you're okay being alone, then start seeking out the company of others.
I see that in the relationships that I'm having because I'm like, my college friends are like the basis of most of my friends now. And I'm like a couple years older than them. So I got to 30 before they did. And I was like, when you get to 30, this is how it's going to feel. And
this was going to be
you think you know everything. Now they got over. Now they're 32 and 33.
And they're feeling like,
they feel it, they see it, but they're stuck in that thing of, I got to be with somebody. And they're having destructive relationships.
Don't value themselves without a partner of some sort. It could be a homegirl, a homeboy, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, you know, like even a dog or a cat, like people.
But yeah, that goes back to that validation thing. I feel validated. I'm whole as a person if I have somebody to wake up to in the middle of the night. This person that beat me in my head, stole my money, messed up my credit, destroyed my car, my relationships with my friends, but they love me. And I don't want to be alone.
But do they? Like, this shit is crazy. Like,
they honestly probably do love you if you let them get away with all of that.
Right, and I have to say that I do believe, and maybe this is just my optimistic personality that you all accuse me of. I do believe that the people who treat me badly, most of them, not all, most of them, do it unconsciously. And I have to be responsible for my own happiness.
I think it's right in the middle. They have an awareness of it.
I think,
but hurt people really do love you. But you're somebody who I can beat up on. It's the idea culturally what the lady said.
Has become the bullier.
Right, and then...
I mean, the bullied has become the bullier.
So the master beat the father, then who does the father have to beat? The wife.
Right. The
then
wife
who
beats the child.
And then it's just a cycle. Continues. Right, it's a cycle. Because now this child is grown, and who do they beat? The next person
before they
down.
beat on somebody, they were beating on the pets.
Yeah.
Or beating on their stuffed animals.
Right, and
like,
then...
You know,
now
like
you wonder
really
why this dog is so mad.
Right, and then you can't figure out why the dog is biting everybody.
Yeah.
You know.
So now it's full circle. It's full circle.
Yo, guys, it's been an amazing night. It was thank you for coming and
see how fast
being here with me tonight. It was very nice to come back. It feels comfortable to be home. I will see you all next week. You know, like to wrap up the month of November and say goodbye to autumn and, you know, look forward to the 2019 radio season because we'll be going on break as a station.
Break this shit is going to be a little bit different, but that's going to be...
But we'll talk about that. I'll let you guys know what break looks like. But thank you all for tuning in and don't forget to love life and be brave. Most importantly... live unapologetically. Good night, all. I'll see you next week.
It's a jump off. Welcome to the show, Underwood Show. Hot topics. We discussing anything. It's a go. We going live now. Got a favorite song calling to the show. Is he ready? Yeah. 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go.
That's what I'm talking about. Charlotte Underwood Radio in the back, baby. Man, listen. The Iceman coming.
Oh, yeah.
Big Flowers.
Yeah. Strong.
Harry Sutherland, our favorite country lawyer.
Hear ye in the house.
Courtney Black back with the facts.
You know that.
Kyle Irby, our male rights activist.
Be a man at all times.
Jim Kelly, owner and proprietor of the sports bar.
In the building. He's here.
In the building. Oh, when we get to the sports bar with men coming to talk, women coming to eavesdrop. Last week, my Lakers.
Oh.
Your Lakers again.
They won a game. But they always been my Lakers.
A game.
Yeah, that's well. So far, well, the only game that I can. That's why we talking about last week. I don't want to talk about nothing else.
Just gonna skip over.
Staying positive.
I'm not gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about that. But and then we're gonna talk about some other things that are. Michael Blackston. Talked about the Mayweather fight,
right?
Yeah. And probably got caught up in something.
Okay,
yeah,
we got played again.
Yeah. So we get to that in the sports bar. Men come to talk, women come to eavesdrop. Also in the entertainment, a lot of people lost a midterm election and now they mad at celebrities. Right. We're gonna talk about that among other things. We'll get into entertainment after our HBCU shout out, and after this break, I really want to start a discussion about the president and how he treats the media, and how should I say this? I want to also start a discussion on now that elections have been won or lost, what do we do now? So we're gonna start this discussion. That's right. And that's Stacey Lansar. Go ahead now. Well, where we gonna go from here is the break. You listen to Cheryl Underwood Radio. And now it's time for Cheryl Underwood Radio 60-second moment in music history. Give it to me, Tyrone Dubois.
Thanks so
much, Cheryl. I'm R&B historian Tyrone Dubois with a 60-second moment in music history. Songs with whistles in it? Well, there's quite a few, but I decided to use 3. Otis Redding's Sitting on the Dock of the Bay entered the national R&B chart in February of 1968 after his tragic passing to become the #1 song in America on the R&B charts for 3 weeks, then crossed over to the pop charts for 4 weeks to become #1 again. A song in 1981 from the Jay Giles Band called Centerfold that spoke about a man who discovered his high school crush appearing in the centerfold that was his teacher became the #1 song in America on the pop charts for 6 consecutive weeks in February 1982. And the group The Bangles' Walk Like an Egyptian was written after seeing people on a ferry walking awkwardly to keep their balance. It also went to #1 on the national pop charts for 4 consecutive weeks, carrying over into January 1987. Whistling while you work, particularly in a song, well, it can pay off. For more information, you can go to my website, rnbhistorian.com. I'm America's R&B historian, Tyrone Dubois, for Cheryl Underwood Radio.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m.